Welcome again to Salulaw channel. This is going to be our 5th episode, episode 5. If I want you to subscribe and share, and if you have any topics that you think we should cover, please just show it below, and I'll be glad to take it up and let you know in our future broadcast. Today we are going to discuss a topic that is dear to so many people that have been involved in a car wreck, in a crash. What you need to know about Sideswipe car accidents. Who is at fault for a Sideswipe accident? That happens a lot. And it's an area where there's a lot of dispute regarding liability. Is it my fault? Is it the other driver's fault? And so it's important for you to know this. Sideswipe car accident events typically occur when one driver changes lanes and or moves on the other vehicle's direction. Let me repeat that again. Sideswipe car accidents events typically occur when one driver changes lanes and or moves in the other vehicle's direction. If you live in Mississippi and Tennessee, the driver who changes lanes and moves in the other vehicle's direction is at fault and is liable for resultant losses. I want to repeat that again. If you live in Mississippi and Tennessee and you change lane and you move on the other vehicle's direction, you are at fault and you are going to be liable for any damages caused to that vehicle and injuries that result from the driver of that vehicle. Sideswipe events occur between vehicles moving in the same direction and traveling in parallel lanes. There may be a scenario in which sideswipe accident can be caused by oncoming accidents after near-miss head-on collisions. That is, two vehicles traveling in parallel lanes in the same directions, and one move towards the other lane. That is your typical sideswipe accidents, collisions. There are typical locations where you find sideswipe accidents. That is where it is more predominant. There might be a scenario where sideswipe accidents occur between vehicles moving in the same direction. They typically occur at intersections, and most often the driver who did not yield the right of way is at fault. I want to repeat that again. Even though I explained earlier on that sideswipe accidents occur between vehicles moving in the same direction, they typically, that is, you find it more regular at intersections, and most often the driver who did not yield the right of way is at fault. For vehicles that are traveling in the same direction, collisions often occur when the left side impact the right side in a sideswipe accident. I want to repeat that again. For vehicles traveling in the same directions, when collision occurs, when the left side impacts the right side in a sideswipe accident. In such a scenario, the driver with a damaged left side who left his or her lane and impacted the right side of vehicle traveling on a parallel lane is at fault. I'm going to repeat this again. You are traveling on the same parallel lane. You are on the left lane, another driver is on the right lane. And you left your left lane and impact the driver on the right lane, but the driver's side of that right lane. You that left that left lane and impacted the right side in a sideswipe accident, you are at fault, whether you live in Mississippi or Tennessee. Of course, you find common causes of sideswipe accidents. What are the common causes? They are often caused by distracted driving. A lot of the accidents that happens on the road are caused by distracted driving. But sideswipe accidents may also be caused by failure of drivers to check blind spots before changing lanes. That happens more than you might think. You are driving, you want to change lane. It's not sufficient to look at your side view mirror. You must turn either right or to your left. After looking at those side view mirror, you must turn your head to look at your blind spot, because your side view mirror can only cover what is behind your vehicle. You're turning your head to look is the only way you will be able to see if a vehicle that is already parallel to you on your blind spot is right beside you. So you have to look at those blind spots. Very important. Then distracted drivers that drift into other lanes while distracted by electronic devices such as radios or others in the vehicle. Listening to rap music, listen to any type of music, and you get carried away, and you don't know when you swerve into other people's lane, you are at fault. So distracted driving is much more common, especially when you are traveling on a long road. But even people traveling short distance, they do, especially where you blare your loud music, you enjoy loud music, or you are most likely to be distracted driving, to be engaged in distracted driving, because then by the time you move into other people's lane, you won't know what you are doing. Drivers under the influence of intoxicating liquor or drugs weaving in and out of lanes. Now, for lawyers who do DUI, that is always let me not veer. For those who have been arrested for DUI, that's the first probable cause the police are coming to say, that they saw you weaving in out of lanes. That's the established probable cause by saying that. So when you are doing that, you are more likely to cause a sideswipe accident when you're on drugs or when you are under the influence of alcohol. And don't forget, if you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs and you caused a sideswipe accident or any type of accident, not only will the victim or the person that was injured in such an accident have the right to recover against you, if you are found to have been under the influence of alcohol or drugs, they will be entitled to the award of punitive damages. remember that they will be entitled to the award of punitive damages. That is, if they found that you are liable, that is number one. The court will allow them, because you caused the accident while you were under the influence, the court will allow them punitive damages, which will be a multiplier of whatever damages they are entitled to. Let's say, for example, you caused an accident that entitled the victim to a $50,000 damages. If you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs, the victim, in this case the plaintiff in a civil case, will be entitled to the award of a multiplier of that 50,000. That is, on top of that 50,000, you might see the jury or the judge instructing the jury that if they found you were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs, they should award punitive damages that will be 2 or 3 times the amount that has already been awarded against you for damages. So if you have a $50,000 damages against you already, if you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, 2 times that, you're looking at 150 to 200,000 in damages for being under the influence of alcohol and drugs. So driving while drunk or while under the influence of drugs is prohibited, is a no-no, is not in your interest, and don't do it. If you are under the influence of any alcohol, just get your friend to drive and be a passenger. Another reason why you have sideswipe accident is drivers in road rage, racing or engaging in reckless driving. That happens a lot, especially in Memphis, where young people want to race or they're angry with each other. My advice to you is that if you are driving and somebody crosses ahead of you, especially in these days where people travel with weapons, just wave and apologize. You are not a small person for apologizing. You are not weak. You are not lazy. You are not a coward for apologizing. And I do that often if I make a mistake and I change lane and the other driver horn. Oh, I just make that signal that you are sorry, you apologize, and they'll go. Don't try to make an issue. Don't try to fight. Don't try to turn it into a road rage. But in any event, that is another cause of sideswipe accidents. Failure of one driver to signal a lane change before moving to another lane. That's a major problem. You won't believe that people do this a lot. I've seen people just move from one lane to another without signaling. And if you do that, you are more likely to collide with a car who was not expecting that you should change your lane, and either you are moving to his right or you are moving to his left. If you engage in proper lane change, you are more likely to cause a sideswipe accident. And if you merge into the lane of another driver without checking the lane carefully, that is in those lanes where the streets are marked and there is a merger, you have to give way. You have to yield to the driver that was on that lane prior to you moving from your left lane into that right lane in a merger. If you don't yield, then you coming from the left lane, you'll be at fault. And also, you have drivers on a bad weather when the roads are wet or icy, and you are hydroplaning, doing things, driving recklessly, you are more likely to have a sideswipe accident. And it's going to be, even if the weather is bad or even if it's wet or icy, you are going to be found at fault in a sideswipe accident. Now, I want to now tell you why injuries in sideswipe crashes are extremely dangerous and can be catastrophic. Manufacturers typically design cars to assure the greatest protection against head-on and rear-end crashes. That is where the protection is in your vehicle. It is always that you are having a head-on collision or somebody is going to hit you from the rear. The sides are never padded in the way the rear or the head-on is padded to protect against head-on or rear-end collision. So those injuries from sideswipe tends to be much more severe because only the front and the back of vehicles have bumpers to help absorb the force of crash. Because the size of a vehicle don't offer the same protection, there's little space between the side of a car and the driver or passenger inside the vehicle. Consequently, drivers or passengers often experience secondary crash in a sideswipe accident, as the vehicles could collide with another vehicle, guardrail, concrete barrier, or road. You come from the left lane and you swipe a driver on the right lane, most likely the driver will lose control and move into the lane to his right, colliding with vehicles traveling to his right, and in some cases they collide with a guardrail. That makes the crash much more serious and can often be catastrophic. Because of lack of adequate protection in a sideswipe crash, drivers and passengers do suffer serious internal injuries, broken arms, knees, legs, injuries to the back, neck, or head. In a sideswipe accident, this type of injuries may not readily be apparent. Victims must not take sideswipe accidents for granted, but must go to the nearest emergency room of a hospital or get checked out by a medical professional immediately. That is easier said than done, but it's dangerous. You won't believe I've had a lot of cases where people were involved in sideswipe accidents and they tell me and say, "Oh, Mr. Salu, no problem. I'm fine. I'm not injured." The next day, they start experiencing pain. The third day, the pain became worse. And I've had a guy recently that was involved in the sideswipe accident who said everything was fine. In 4 days, he was dead from a sideswipe impact. Those injuries can be really lethal. They are slow pain, and the internal organs might have been damaged, and slowly you are bleeding. So every accident, I always advise you must go to the emergency room of the hospital. In every accident, before you call your lawyer or you call for anything, go to the emergency room of the hospital. If you are involved in any accident, it's very important. It's the first thing you should do once you get out of where you are. If you are not being able to be transported by ambulance, drive yourself or get someone to drive you to the emergency room of any hospital that is near you in any type of accident that you are involved in. Then, what do you do after a sideswipe crash? Victims of sideswipe crashes must be prepared for insurance companies to minimize their claims or consider their claims to be minor. You must take the following steps to protect your personal injury claim by: first, you have to document your accident by taking pictures of your damaged vehicles. Now, when I say take pictures, not only must you take pictures of the area where the other car impacted your vehicle, I want you to take pictures of all the four sides of your car, including a closed-up picture of the tag. Why this is important is this. I've been in cases where people were involved in an accident, they took pictures, and the insurance company object to those pictures on the ground that this could have been pictures of another car wreck. So it is important when you take those pictures, you take all the four, including the tag of your car. Then if you can also take pictures of the car that was involved in the collision with you. Very important. That is how to document your case. Now, the next thing, you must obtain the names, telephone numbers, emails, and addresses of eyewitnesses. Very important. Because stories do change. The person that was at fault can swiftly turn over and start telling a different stories. I get that a lot in trucking accidents. There are trucks that were at fault, and immediately they do get radio from their supervisor to deny they were the ones that hit the vehicle, or to deny this or to deny that. So you must take those pictures, get the telephone numbers, emails, and addresses of those eyewitnesses, and then you must call the police immediately. Do not listen to the other driver telling you it is a minor accident and you only exchange insurance information. Call police. Police accident report is essential to establish your claim and damages. And then get medical help immediately, and always accept an offer from the police to transport you by ambulance. It's very important. I hear people say, oh, I don't want to go by ambulance because it costs. That is wrong. You devalue your case. Your injury case is devalued when you are not transported by ambulance, because the insurance company just automatically assume that you are not as seriously injured. If you are seriously injured, get an ambulance to transport you. Let them take your car to a storage or car wherever it is you want your car to be. The police has your car. You can always get your car back later. So call police, ride with an ambulance. That shows the seriousness of your accident and your injury. Ride with an ambulance to the nearest hospital, even if you don't have medical insurance. I don't care whether you are uninsured. Every hospital, if you present yourself that you are coming from, you've just been injured, they will treat you without asking for anything. They'll treat you free of charge. You may want to continue treating with the hospital. I suggest you do that. If you don't have medical insurance, keep going back to the hospital until you're able to hire an attorney. And most attorneys knows what to do. They know those doctors that will treat you on a medical lien basis. There are doctors that will treat you if you don't have insurance, and they will accept what we call medical liens to be able to treat you and wait until your case is settled. So it's important you go to the hospital, ride with ambulance, and seek to hire an attorney immediately. If you ride with ambulance, it shows the severity of your injuries. If you are involved in a Sideswipe accident, most hospitals will treat you, as I said, with or without medical insurance. Remember to tell the doctor and everyone you interacted with at this hospital that you were involved in a side swap as crash. Very important. That is, I want your story to be consistent. What you saw happen to you is what you should tell them at the ER of the hospital. Don't go to the hospital and be telling them about something else that has happened to you previously. Don't forget those records. What you reported at the ER will be used. They are going to request for it. And whether you want it or not, they will subpoena those records. The insurance company will subpoena it if there's a lawsuit. They will look at it. They have the right in a lawsuit to look at your medical records as far back as the time you were born. So I don't want you to lie. I want you to be consistent. I want you to tell the story of what happens to you, how you are side swapped by the other side is very important, and how you are feeling pain. Tell the truth to the doctor. This is where the truth will not hurt your case. Seek urgent medical evaluation is essential for your personal injury claim. Remember that some victims of minor side swap accidents have died. I've told you that before, because of latent injury that were not revealed. That happens recently to a client of mine who was injured in an accident. Luckily, it's not my client that died. Is the other side, who is the other side, who is the father of who was driving with his daughter. The father was involved in a side swap accident that was his fault. He told police there was nothing wrong. He doesn't need an ambulance. 5 days later, he was dead because he suffered internal injuries and he ignored it. Then contact a car accident attorney immediately. At Salulaw and Salulaw Farm, you can always email us at salu@salulawfarm.com, or you can call us if you're in Mississippi, 662-342-7007. If you're in Memphis, you see our line, phone line on the screen. The damages you may recover in a side swap accident as follows. If you are involved in a side swap accident that is not your fault, you may recover the following damages. That is, you remember this, the accident was not your fault. You recover all your medical expenses that are related to your injuries. You recover all your lost wages that are related to your accident. That is, you recover all amount that you miss from work. All your supervisor needs to do is to send a letter, one sentence. Lender so and so missed work for this number of days, total number of hours, at the rate of $20 an hour due to the injuries received from the accident. And it's a sentence, and your supervisor will sign it. That is your proof of lost wages. You are also entitled to future lost wages if your injuries are permanent. Pain and suffering associated with your injuries, you are entitled to it. Damage to your vehicle as well as any personal property that must have been inside your vehicle, you are entitled to recover those. If your side swap crash was caused by a commercial vehicle, truck, freightliner, 18-wheeler or trailer truck with a faulty brake, you may be able to recover punitive damages provided the faulty brakes, the failed brakes caused the crash. In the same way, you may be able to recover punitive damages for a crash caused by a drunken driver. Now, this is important. I've heard people talk about trucking accident and all that. You only get punitive damages against a trucking company only on two grounds. One, the truck driver was under the influence of alcohol or drug at the time of the accident. Or two, you can get a diesel mechanic immediately to look under the truck, wherever it's parked in, and check the brake to make sure that the brake was faulty. Those are the two grounds recognized by law in Tennessee and Mississippi where you can get punitive damages against the trucking company. I want you to remember this, but to be able to check the brakes, you must have a diesel mechanic who will quickly go to where that truck is parked and check if the brake was at fault, was faulty. If the brake is faulty, you will have an independent professional to document that the brake of the truck was faulty. That will entitle you to prove at trial and ask for punitive damages. Those are the two grounds: drunk or under the influence driver, or faulty brakes. Any other grounds, you will simply be entitled to recovery just like any other car accident. Feel free to call us. Our phone number in Mississippi is 3-662-342-7007, or you email us. I prefer email, salu@salulawfarm.com. You will see our Tennessee telephone number on the screen. Feel free to call us anytime. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe. And if you have any topic that you think we should discuss, please let us know. Thank you for watching Salulaw channel.